Hello guys, welcome to another of our video tutorial. Today we said we'll be discussing about the math operations. Okay, so I won't waste further time. There are so many mathematical operations you can actually carry out in Python. Okay, so today I'm going to be doing a few of that, so we will see how it is being done. Okay, so for you to get started, you have to define your variable. Let's say you have a number. Okay, let's say your number. Say you have 9.9 as a number and you want to round it up. Okay, so there is a built-in function in Python that is called the round. Okay, so say num2 equal to round then num. All right, so when you print your num2, so what this actually does is that it rounds up whatever number you have, either to the nearest whole number or to the nearest hundred, in fact to the nearest tenth, 100,000, generally to the nearest whole number. Okay, so when you run your program, okay, so 10 is the nearest whole number here, so it will round it up depending on the number that is behind. Okay, so depending on the number that is after the decimal point, if the number is from 5 upwards, it will round it up. If it is from 4 downwards, it will round it down. Okay, so now we have given an example using this. Let's assume that we have 4 there, so let's know what happens. Okay, so like I told you before, I have 4 just after the decimal point and I still have 9 displayed because the number from 0 to 4 is rounded down, while the ones from 5 to 9 is rounded up. Okay, so that is how it is being done. So I'm going to also give you another very important mathematical function that we use in Python. Okay, let's assume you have a number in negative form. Let's say you have minus, okay, let's now equal to minus 20. Okay, let me just say this. Now we have a function we use in Python that converts whatsoever value you have irrespective of its should I say sign. Okay, sign, it converts it to the opposite. It returns the positive aspect of it. That's just what it means. So we call that function the absolute function. Okay, so it's denoted with ABS. So what we have here now is going to return, if I am to use that function, we're going to have the positive 20 return to us. So what you do is to have your num2, like we did before, num2 equal to ABS. Now this is the syntax for that. So you have your num inside this. So when you run your program, going to have the positive 20. So when you run your program, going to have this. Okay, so what this absolute function does, ABS, what it does is that it returns the positive sign of whatsoever variable you have. All right, so if you have minus 2 million, it returns it. If you have plus 200, it returns the same plus. If you have negative, it returns positive. Okay, so it returns the positive value of every operation irrespective of how it started it. Okay, so but for you to really make use of the mathematical functions in Python, it usually means you have to import the math module. All right, so for you to import the math module, what you can do is to, here you say import maths. Now we have written this code to allow us to access every mathematical function that is under the math module. Okay, so here let's assume we want to work on the previous examples we have given. Let's say we have a to be equal to, let's say 9.9. 9.9 let's assume that this is what we have, and we want to make use of the real mass functions to round it down or to round it up. Okay, so the mass function to round it down is called the floor, while the mass function to round it up is called the cell. So when we create another variable, let's say b is equal to, now we use the name of this variable as our way of accessing the mass methods. Okay, so we say b is equal to mass dot, okay, say, okay, let's start with this, the upper one first, then in brackets your variable. Now what this actually does is that it rounds it up, as the cell is round up, the floor is to round down. So when you run your program, oh, I didn't print it out, sorry. Okay, so you have your b. So when you run the program, you have 10 printed out. Okay, now I wanted to also take note of something. You know, when we actually did the other one that we had 4 here, when we use the round function, it rounded it down to just 9 because number from 0 to 4 is rounded down, you remember. All right, so irrespective of whatsoever number that is here, once we use the cell function, the floor function, or the floor method, the math function, what we are going to have is the rounded down of this particular value. All right, so when you run your program, you're going to get 9. Usually if you are to round this up, you are going to get 10, but because of this mass method that we've been able to access this floor, whatsoever number that is here, you are going to round it down. Okay, so there are so many other mass functions that you can actually access using this import. So I wanted to go to the internet and browse and learn all about mass functions, mass modules. Then when you come back and you have any issues, we can deal with it together. All right, so see you in our next class. Take care.